Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. This particular episode is the Fat Bald Perspective. I'm going to give you my thoughts of the first go round, the episode called The Holy Trinity of the brand new Amazon Prime show called The Grand Tour. Now, it's only been live for probably about 3.5, 4 hours now, so this is pretty fresh. I just got done watching this particular episode. I've been trying over the past several days to think of a way to come at this particular review, because when I did the review of the new Top Gear with the new cast of characters, obviously a Top Gear is a known entity, and really once you got into it with the new players, it was kind of easy to say, okay, this didn't work, or whatnot. This particular show, you had no idea what you were getting into. You knew it was going to involve cars, and actually, once you watch this particular episode, you'll notice that if you keep close tabs on this over the past several months, there are a lot of takeaways in the past several months where they did release a lot of the information that took place, at least in this particular episode, and episodes that are going to be coming down the line. Now, as far as the program as a whole, Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond, this is pretty interesting because the old Top Gear was really what I thought you were going to get a big feeling of it. This was going to feel like just, well, it was just going to be another season or year of Top Gear. But it really had a fresh style of feel to it. It really felt good. If you closed your eyes, you thought you were watching Top Gear, but as long as you were staring at that screen, I know that sounds a little stupid, but it really had kind of a fresh feeling, especially the in-studio segments. Now, you thought that a lot of things, or at least I should say I thought that a lot of things that were in the old franchise, we're talking about the Stig, the track, the lap time records, the reasonably priced cars segment, the cool wall, and even the news. I thought a lot of these things were actually going to go away because there was no way that the BBC was going to allow them to use their intellectual properties, that being those particular deals. But this is one of the big spoilers that I'm going to release here. And I'm not really going to go through this segment by segment of this particular program. So this is probably going to be your biggest spoiler inside of this review. A lot of things are going to be the same. Yes, they are going to have a bespoke race driver. Yes, they're going to have a bespoke track actually in Europe, and a lot of the segments, they do poke a lot of fun at the BBC over some of the segments they used to do being kind of stupid, and their new segments being kind of weird as far as that's concerned as they're coming at you. Now, the trick of this is, in the front half of this particular brand new episode, it moves along at a brisk pace. You get to see that massively expensive, over $3 million spent to do that opening sequence of the new episode. It's pretty doggone cool and very, very large, just like they talked about, in scale. And it kind of works, and I don't know if they're going to play that at the beginning of every episode or a kind of a mashed up version of it ahead of the every episode. It'll be interesting to say. But once they actually got into the tent, it kind of got the ball rolling, and the out-of-studio segments are actually shot like Andy Willman and his entire group is shot back in the Top Gear days. They're shot like no other car program on the planet other than the way Top Gear used to do these things, even the way they do it now. So it's very visually stunning, very well put together. This thing actually moves along at a pretty good pace, especially in the front half. Now, towards the middle to maybe even the back half of this particular show, it does hit a few speed bumps. Some of you may know this particular reference if you know the animated series called Family Guy, where they like to do a joke but then kind of run it into the ground quite aggressively, where it's pretty funny in the beginning, gets a little awkward, maybe gets a little funny towards the end, but goes on uncomfortably long. There is a couple of sequences inside of this that go on a little bit uncomfortably long. In fact, one particular episode, I couldn't understand exactly what was going on till late in the joke cycle. As far as the bulk of it, it had a bunch of laugh out loud moments and a bunch of very, very cool driving sequences, obviously with the cars they're going to have on this particular program. The overwhelming story arc of this particular franchise is one of the things that I don't really care for. The whole name, the Grand Tour, I always thought was kind of weird. I know what it means. I know what it's supposed to be there for. The fact that they're going to drag this tent all over the planet is kind of intriguing. I wonder if that won't last past the first season, if maybe that new track that they have will become their base of operations for a lot of the filming inside of this deal. Obviously, this thing's kind of still feeling its legs. I mean, it's going to kind of get out there and feel the waters a little bit and see what's what. So there may be a lot of changes coming soon. I think for the most part, if you liked the old Top Gear, you're going to really like this show. If you don't like these three guys, chances are this thing isn't going to change your mind or make it any different. There is supposedly a lot of segments coming out with absolutely no involvement with automobiles, which is going to be kind of interesting moving forward. But I have to say, just after watching this thing, I really can't wait for the next episode. Oddly enough, going to happen in a week's time. Apparently this is how Amazon does their thing. I always thought that this was going to be somewhat of a more topical show when they came out and said, hey, we're going to do an episode a week. I'm not, okay, they're going to try to film the in-studio segments closer to the day of launch for it to go live. That way they can do some latest news-style programming. But that isn't really the case. They film these months in advance, so that may change in the future. Overall, I give the show a thumbs up. It was very entertaining, very enjoyable, and I think it's just going to get better with time, much like the last generation of Top Gear. First couple of episodes were kind of wonky, but it kind of starts getting its legs underneath it. It'll get a lot better moving forward. So I have to say, these guys did a good job. It was fun. It was enjoyable. We'll get to see a whole lot more of it coming up in the next several months. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motorcars Enthusiasts, the Fat Bald Perspective. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. The link's down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new show as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.